What is going on, everybody? Well, we are back for another video today, and today is going to be a different type of video. We're going to be setting up a breeding tank for profit. And what that means is this breeding tank will produce offspring that can be sold to wholesalers and local fish stores, just like we've done in the past with guppy breeding. And in fact, let's go back through a trip real quick on what we've done in the past on guppy breeding. We've been breeding guppies for a long time on this channel. It's one of the staples of this channel. We've had multiple breeding tanks. We've had different strains that have come through the fish room. We've had all kinds of crazy looking guppies. We even did a collab with the guppy guru where he sent us a breeding trio of guppies. Those were purple mosaic Dumbo ear guppies, which we still have in the fish room today. In fact, they're in this tank, there are offspring in this tank, and there are offspring in this tank. So we still have a lot of these guppy strains still exist in the fish room today. We also have another guppy breeding tank right down here. We'll do a whole update on breeding guppies for profit later on. That's not what this video is about. What this video is about is actually breeding a new species of fish. In this video, I'm gonna give you an opportunity to win a piece of Christopher Scott merch, such as this Arowana t-shirt right here. So all you have to do is pay attention and follow the instructions. And really what it's going to be about is you commenting fish types that you think are going to go into this breeding setup in the comments below. I'm going to give you multiple hints throughout this video because this is a different species of fish that you probably haven't seen a lot in the aquarium industry, but I'm going to give you a lot of facts about it, which hopefully gives you the opportunity to do some research and maybe win a piece of Christopher Scott merch. Now, if you don't want to wait around to win merch, you can always visit thefanaticbrand.com and pick yours up today. With all of that being said, let's get into this video today and let's get out and get what we need for this build. Well, the first stop on our journey here of building out this breeding tank is here at Petco, and the reason is because right now they have all their glass aquariums 50% off. So we're gonna go ahead and pick up a 20-gallon long, and that 20-gallon long is only $24.99. So you can't beat it. We are at our second stop, which is the local hardware store, for our next item we need for this breeding tank. All right, what we're picking up here, guys, is these planter baskets. They're actually for ponds, and you'll understand why we need these here in just a minute. I'm gonna go ahead and get 2 of these. Do you want an opportunity to win a piece of Christopher Scott merch, such as the Arowana t-shirt that I have on today? Well, all you have to do is pay attention, because I am giving you hint after hint after hint of what type of fish will be going into this new breeding tank. All you have to do is guess correctly. I'm gonna choose the very first person that guesses the fish type correctly in the comments below, and I can sort by newest first, so I will in fact know who commented first and got it correct. I will not be accepting entries of any comment that has been edited, because it just doesn't make it fair. All you need to do, blow the comments up with all the different fish types that you think it could be that will be going into this tank, and like I said, I'm giving you hints all throughout this, trying to help you win, and in return all I need you to do is help me by commenting as much as possible. So let's get back to it. First thing that we have here is this is a 20-gallon long tank, and I wanted it to be shorter. What we're gonna do is we're gonna be building 2 different types of spawn beds in this tank. Well, technically they're the same type of spawn beds, but 2 different methods on how we're gonna do that. We're gonna start on this left side of the tank here, and what we're gonna do is in this back corner right here is we're gonna start building a little rock structure, like a mountain almost. And what I have for that, I have this rock that I had purchased for another tank build, and when I got it home I realized that this is actually polished rock. Once this gets wet, it actually has a very much of a polished finish, which was not gonna work for that build, so we're gonna use it today. We're gonna start by making a nice little area back here, and what I'm doing is just building kind of a front wall, because this area right here is going to be, actually we're gonna make it a little bit bigger. Does not have to be perfect. Now once that's built, what we're gonna do is just start filling this in with rock. And then as we get this built up, we're just gonna slowly start building this into kind of like a stone little mountain. Just like that. This is literally all we're doing. So we're going to just use a bare tank on the bottom here with this rock mountain back in this corner here. Now the idea here is that as the fish are over top of this rock mountain and they are spawning, they will actually spawn and drop eggs down into this rock structure, which will prevent the fish from actually eating the egg, which is what we want to happen. The reason the rock structure exists is because this particular type of fish actually uses another type of fish's spawning bed to spawn. And this is what they build when they spawn. You know, I'm giving you hints here on what this fish could be, so make sure you're commenting down below on what your guesses are so you can win a piece of Christopher Scott merch. That was pretty basic, right? Now we're gonna move over here to this other side of this tank and we're gonna build another type of spawn bed. Now for this particular side, we're gonna need something. That is going to be an aquatic plant basket. You can actually get these at Home Depot's, Lowe's, anywhere that they sell any type of pond type supplies. I need to be able to affix this where it will sit right here about this height. All right, the method I'm gonna use to hang this basket is actually quite simple, and that is I'm just gonna use some of these zip ties here. I'm gonna evenly space them out and then just zip tie them the first click there. So I'm gonna continue doing this for just a second and I'll show you how we're gonna hang it. Okay, so now that I have the zip ties in here, what I'm gonna do is just run a piece of PVC pipe right through these zip ties, and hopefully these zip ties are long enough. They may not be, and if they're not, then we'll get some longer ones, and that will give us the ability to let that basket hang inside of the water. Now what we're going to have to do is actually lower that some, so I'm going to find some longer zip ties and we'll redo this again. So what I've done is actually just zip tied a couple of zip ties together because I didn't have any longer ones, but what we're wanting to do is we want to just pull this right up underneath the lip of this aquarium, just about right there. We're going to fill this basket right here with rock. So what I want to do is just have a nice layer of rock in the bottom of this basket here. The idea is that we will be able to move the fish from either this tank or into this basket. Now, if they're in the tank or there's fish in the tank, then obviously it's not going to matter if they're in the basket. To be able to move them back and forth to see what's going to work. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to start with having this rock in here because we want the water to hit it. We want them to be used to it, but they will be in this tank swimming around naturally, and if they decide to spawn, they can spawn over here on top of this stone mountain, or if they decide not to, what we can do is isolate them completely. We will take them out of this tank here and put them into this basket. Now what will happen here is if they spawn in this basket, it's going to fall through the rocks, through the holes on the bottom of the planter, and into the bottom of the tank where there will be no other fish, so there will be no chance of them being able to eat them. Let's go ahead and get the filtration set up on this thing, get some water in it, get the water treated and things of that nature. Our filtration for this setup is going to be quite simple. We're going to be using your standard off-the-shelf sponge filter you can pick up for a few dollars. We're going to be using a 10 to 30 gallon aerator with a check valve and airline hose. We're going to be using this little yellow clip right here, which I will show you what that's for in just a moment, as well as this plastic lid that you can find on pretty much any butter dish. You also get them on top of betta containers, things of that nature, and I'll show you what we'll do with that in just a moment as well. Very much an easy setup, and what this prevents is the fry or eggs being sucked up into a hang on the back filter or a canister filter or something of that nature. If they get sucked into the side of this sponge, they can still hatch and still survive. So let's go back over to the tank and get all of this set up now. So let's start by plugging this aerator in. Check valves basically allow air to come out, but it does not allow anything to flow back down the tube and out. And the reason is because the suction that is created by air being pushed out of this hose, well, if the power goes off, when that air retracts back up, essentially what happens is it brings water with it, which means that you can literally flood your house with a very small airline hose like this. And it's a bad thing. So you should always use a check valve. So a couple of things that we need to do here. Number one is we need to take this airline hose and we need to run it through this plastic top that we were talking about and then connect it to our sponge filter. We'll set our sponge filter right back here. We want this plastic top to sit right about the top of the water, just like this, right at under the lip of the tank. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this little yellow clip here to clip the airline hose in place. Now looking at this from the top view, so we have the plastic lid here that goes down into the sponge filter. We have all of our rocks inside of our little basket here. This is now floating up above the bottom of the tank. We have our little rock mountain, and the only thing left, guys, is let's get some water in this thing. Well, we have the water in here. Now, it's time to treat this water. So what I'm gonna use to start with is I need to dechlorinate the water, and I'm gonna use some of this API Stress Coat Plus, which actually dechlorinates the water. Now we're going to use some of this API Stress Zyme Plus. This is a live nitrifying bacteria that will help boost the cycle in your tank. Now I am going to place this in the tank and then ghost feed the tank for a few days to allow the cycle to start, and then I will test the water prior to adding fish to this tank, but this will at least kickstart it. And for a new tank setup, you're gonna double the dose. It has a nice little measuring cap on the top. So for a brand new aquarium, we're gonna add 10 per 10 gallons. This is a 20-gallon tank, so 2 caps. Now the water is treated, and by the time I'm ready to pick up these fish, it'll be fully cycled. But like I said, we will definitely test it to make sure that the cycle is actually good. What I want to show you here is the setup on this sponge filter. Now you notice the bubbles coming out of the top and hitting the water. Well, what do you think happens to those when they hit the surface of the water? They break apart and they splash everywhere. So that's the purpose of this little plastic top. If you notice, what happens is it's a block, and it allows those bubbles to bust underneath it and then just dissipate over the surface of the water, preventing water from splashing all over everything and making a mess. With that, this tank is fully set up and ready to put some fish in it. Here's what I need you guys to do. Go ahead and start commenting your thoughts on what this breeding set of fish is going to be in this tank. I've given you a lot of hints throughout this video today, and I'm going to give you one final, and that is this particular fish is actually native to the United States. However, there are not a lot of breeders that exist in the United States. Therefore, when you go to a pet store to buy this particular fish, you are actually probably getting one that was bred in Asia, Indonesia, somewhere like that, and then shipped to the US, even though it is a native species to our country. That's all I'm going to give you, but go ahead and comment as many fish as you possibly can and as many comments as you want, and hopefully you get it right. The first person to get it right will win a piece of Christopher Scott merch, such as the Arowana t-shirt here. So make sure you go ahead and do that. With all of that being said, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Make sure that you are subscribed and you have your notification bell on so you do not miss the next video, which will be coming out in 2 to 3 days on what these fish are. You'll get to see us go pick them up. You'll learn all kinds of crazy facts about them. So make sure that you have that notification bell on so you do not miss that video. So with all that being said, guys, I really appreciate it. Thank you so very much for all of the support that you give the channel. Make sure you like this video before you go, because it is an easy and free way for you to support the channel. And hey, we will see you next time.